lane or any sort of protagonist role, particularly the mid and the safe lane, when you feel really countered, that pressure can get the players quite easily. So we'll see if the young ones are actually going to crumble under it, or if their passion will lead them through.
Pardon, and yeah, it can be a bit frustrating, right, when you're trying to play this kind of run-at-you lineup and enemies just
have Hex.
They have Hex, their puck gets away, Visage flies over a wall, Mars blinks back, and you just get like a crappy shaman. Like, it can be a bit, and he buys back anyway for the Roche fight. So definitely a big test of the patience, and I think that's where it helps to have these more experienced players, right, being able to kind of, you know, ease the tensions and say, okay, boys, we go in now here. Speaking of going in, Notice is quite eager to check for a ward. He wants scout one there. That's why this ward placement quite key. As if he did scout him here, the tower would have attacked him and they would have known there was vision, and that ward's probably gone. Taiga is going to be able to scout the Observer that was placed early. Puck, one of the best heroes, other than maybe Earth Spirit, at planting early wards mid. Hard to really beat those. So Neko will make a play here for the bounty. 3 heroes ready to fight him though, and with brown boots, Neko will get off to safety.
Yeah, Amar's positioning, I think, is going to be also very key for OG's engagement, because you don't really have any vision. I guess Nyx can be that person, right, to a degree, but I do feel like Taiga has to do a lot in the team fights, as he also gets shackled.
He took first point here, in the soul assumption, which means he's going to try for first blood. He needs a little bit of vision. No, he's not going to be able to get that kill.
Yep.
2 stick charges there probably would have saved him, to be honest. And Neko is giving chase, but no brown boots on Taiga, but the nice stun there will get him out of trouble.
He just have a good regen and good armor. Usually Nyx is a great at tanking ganks early. But yeah, I think eventually it's going to be Amar's positioning that makes the key difference in engagement. Because run-at-you lineups, you have to be able to determine when is the right time to run at them, and Razor is the key component to this. You don't have enough catch. Like you said, it's just a Winter's Curse, really. You don't have enough catch to be able to make this work. So especially in the early mid-game, before everything becomes online, as they also kill Taiga, you're going to need Amar to fulfill that role.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a bit of a different build from Dahak. Does he usually go dual null talisman? Am I a little bit crazy here?
I don't think so. I usually saw him just rushing the drums as soon as possible.
I agree. I feel like I've seen a little bit of stats, but mostly just agreed the drums or whatever stat item he feels like going for. So that's maybe slightly interesting here. We'll see how he continues to develop on the build, but for right now, it seems like it's dual null talisman. I wonder if he just wants to be ready to fight early into this Amar BKB timing. Soul Assumption is going to allow the Visage to do a little bit more damage, even with that second value point in these fights, given the amount of high damage. I mean, there's so much splash damage here for OG, right? Ember, Sleight of Fist, Razor always doing damage, so it becomes a very spammable spell, much to Amar's bemusement. He's not a fan.
No, it's a tough lane for Razor. You can tell by the fact he went Plasma Field level 1. He's actually saving the second point, because is there even a use of Static Link in this lane? You gotta get it eventually, but there's really no good target. Shaman's a terrible target for Static Link as well.
Yeah, and especially with brown boots, right? He's even faster than you for now, as he does cancel the healing salve. So the second salve forced for OG in this bottom lane. Still a third one, though, for Taiga. As a gracious support, making sure that Amar on the electric Zappy boy is going to be able to get off. I wonder what Amar calls him. He must have a name for him.
What, for Taiga?
Yeah, no, for Razor, right? Because he calls Huskar Sacred Warrior.
Right. Razor? I think Razor's always been Razor.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, in Dota 1, we always called him Razor. I don't even know what the other thing is. The Revenant? I think it's Razor the Revenant? Or the Storm Revenant? Or the, Gillette? Not sure. He used to be called Gillette. You know he was almost sponsored in Dota 1?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was almost called Gillette.
That's funny.
Yeah, because they actually wanted to sponsor the Razor hero. But that was actually the guy who eventually made League, and you're like, that's why we have the game.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
a little bit of history. Yuragi, of course, very keen to get that build up in the armlet in the top lane. Helps against the physical harass out from Noticed. And Seb making good use, making good use of the Arctic Burn. Did get its flight duration increased by 2 seconds. That's not the debuff duration. That would be very strong.
Yes.
But the flight is still very good. Allows you to play the dead lane a lot better, a lot easier. You can just fly over the walls and save yourself a lot. That could be the difference maker here. Seb getting the farm for Blink Dagger and really making these clutch initiations for OG.
Yeah, certainly Winter Wyvern has a much... Oh, as Taiga dies, by the way. They killed him with a Soul Assumption there once again from the Hawk. That single level, always so powerful. And They certainly increased the Winter Wyvern's laning from absolute hot trash to okay, kind of acceptable sometimes. But when you're up against Skyreth Mage and Mars, I mean, this lane's just too strong, right? You need to harass a little bit, and he's actually covering Yuragi pretty decently, but we're already seeing a win by Mars, which is expected. There's not much you can do. You can, okay, get the Arctic Burn occasionally, but the constant barrage of Arcane Bolts is still going to annoy Yuragi. And because you also have kill potential unnoticed, it's super difficult to play this kind of lane. You have harassment to bring him down low, and the moment that you want to go for a last hit, you're like on half HP, you don't know if Notice will just spear you back, and you'll die.
Yep. And I just want to briefly talk about this bottom lane. It's not the pairing I thought would be really OP, but the more I think about it, Shaman's actually really great to play with Soul Assumption because you have a quick nuke that's pretty fast, good cast animation, that's always going to give you one charge, and your right clicks do like 100 damage. Yeah. I mean, you can very quickly get yourself up to 2 or 3 bars there on the Soul Assumption as Yuragi in a bit of trouble. Does juke Notice, however, who's being slowed now by Seb's Arctic Burn. Yuragi will be able to actually sneak through the trees here. Nice. As Notice is being chased down by the skeletons. With Brown Boots, though, he is going to avoid the buffed Splinter Blast.
Yeah. A little more projectile speed now.
Yeah.
Nice. They do think they can still kill Yuragi, but Seb is blocking that potential spear very well. You can still get the damage off, but you don't get the spear into the tree. So that's what Seb was doing. Really good positioning there, honestly.
Yeah, he even prioritized that over canceling the Salve. So you can tell he really wanted to make sure that this Wraith King can stay in lane. Getting this armlet online is a big deal. It really helps you fight versus the Mars.
Yeah, the helm is actually a huge component for this lane because the armor and the regen is already enough to at least tank a little bit of the God's Rebuke. You can still die because, again, this lane is so strong for BetBoom. But at least you'll be able to hold your own. You can actually go to the jungle kind of early this lane. It's tough, because Mars is actually an easy tower pusher. Great stats, right? It can clear wave super easily. It's not the level of, say, a DK, but you will take your tier 1 if you give him space.
There's Link level 2. It's Amar stealing all the damage from Soneko, essentially. And a TP is coming. It's going to be Force Major joining. Both mids are level 6 as Soneko gets off the Ether Shock, and that's going to be a kill onto Amar with Force Major rotating over.
I don't know what the right play here is for Amar, but if you study BetBoom, you know they're one of the earliest teams at making rotations, right? Both on their carry and their mid laner. In this case, it was the 4. And I feel like with Razor, when you have one of these lanes, you just can't afford to play that aggressively, right? He is a good hero at recovering somewhat. Panselfield is a great farming spell, but you need some stacks for him usually, and you usually rely on getting a good lane to snowball, right? And the only advantage that you have as an offlane Razor is that laning stage. And the fact that at 15 minutes or so, you're strong with or without items. Yep. So maybe they play around that timing and they just sack his late game as a result.
Nice move on a BZM. The silence to make sure he couldn't get the Arcane Rune. It actually goes to Force Major, who's one of the better early Arcane users as he spams out the spells, getting through the infused raindrops of Seb. BZM simply drops a Remnant and he'll be back full HP and mana, so that'll get Force Major to retreat. And this is something that this is why we always say it feels so difficult to draft against BetBoom, because you have to, it feels necessary to ban these kind of cheese heroes. Yeah, bot lane.
What a Shackles, by the way, under tower, the Hex on top of that, Soneko gets the kill, an unsuspecting Nyx Assassin, taking advantage of the trees nearby. And now with the Dream Coil from Laurel, who decided to join in here, they broke that Static Link immediately. That Dream Coil's keeping Amar in place. Now with the Shackles, they make sure he can't go anywhere. His infused raindrops will be wasted and killed as Seb, the last victim of this engagement. They want the kill, and with the Hex, they'll guarantee it. OG lose 3 down bot.
Yeah, and BZM, he TPs back to the mid lane, right? As that's just a deny, quote-unquote, by Soneko. Yeah. But BZM, he TPs back to mid lane, so BetBoom, they make that perfect play because they know BZM, he has to go back to his Remnant mid. There's no way he can fight them back bottom. That's the result of getting the Arcane Rune. Like, these small things, securing Rune gets you a triple kill in the bottom lane. Now you continue to hamper Amar's game that OG like to play around. Yep. It's these small things really make a difference, and I think this comes from the fact that you get such a good matchup in your off lane. Skyreth Mage has been gone from that lane for about 3 or 4 minutes now, and Notice is still farming very well.
Yeah, he got an early game lead, right? He got enough items. He went for the phase boots and also the single bracer, which allows you to put a lot more pressure onto the Wraith King. In fact, Notice, thinking of the pressure, he's just the one creep shy from level 6, tried to get it. But due to the cliff there, they stop him out. So clever here.
6 XP. 6 XP, Avo. He would have had it.
They glyphed the creeps just so he couldn't get it. That was on point by BetBoom. They definitely made that call. Well done, Notice.
Yeah, very well done. I think they knew Seb was going to rotate mid to refill the bottle, as he did, and Laurel's is going to secure the next power rune, Invis, for him. It's going to activate and TP back bottom where there is action.
Yeah, they're going to find Amar once again. No Shackles, such a nuisance. Already level 3. He's going to stay there forever. Laurel is just going to body block, not even going to participate. He knows he can preserve his Invis rune here. Could he rotate mid for this?
He wants a +1. He was scouted down bottom, though, because of the sentry.
Yep.
And so it would be a bit of a challenge here to try and
There's also
make
no
a play.
boots on Laurel, so it takes forever to make it mid. They snipe his courier. Nyx is nearby. A Taiga. Okay, he'll see where the puck is more or less. There we go.
Thanks to the courier kind of giving you like a sonar ping, basically, of information. But that is now going to be Amar's third death of the game as they drop the snakes down bottom. Amar not even really that close to level 6. As the Fortify is going to be used, Amar trying to nuke the wave. 3 points here in the plasma field makes it pretty easy as Taiga is going to show up for the stun on a Soneko. Here's BZM with the rotation as well. Searing Chains, just level 1 here. Not enough for the kill. Soneko thinking about turning. There's the coil. It catches 3 into the shackles, trying to out-heal the damage. Not good enough, though, as the Hawk will bonk once, twice. The bells ring for Amar as he's sent back to the fountain. Laurel back onto Taiga with a nice silence. There's going to be an Impale ready once he's not silenced anymore. He will make it up to the cliff. But it's still BetBoom getting the better of these engagements, as that's Amar dying basically 3 times in the last 2 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah, we did talk about Nyx being like really good at bursting on heroes like Skywrath Mage or Shaman, right? But when you have the lead, when you have the initiation, both of these heroes do have a no damage disable, right? In the silence of the Skywrath Mage and in the Hex for the Shaman. And by doing those, Nyx can't really do much in team fights. As long as they have vision, as long as they can determine when to fight, you're kind of just a walking ward.
Yep. And speaking of wards, the...
there we go. See, Hex. Shackles again, but he shackled the Nyx a little bit too late. He got a Spike Carpus off, actually.
There's, what was I going to say? Oh, right. So the top tower was taken. Serpent Wards didn't get that tower, so it's at least a little bit of a win there for OG, as Seb is going to die here. He does at least secure space for BZM to get the haste from bottom, and he's going to look for the kill onto Laurel. With haste, this might just be about guaranteed, and he even commits the remnant to guarantee it.
Learn from your mistake.
Laurel will die here, which is a kind of a big deal for OG. They needed 1 kill, and to be honest, despite all the kills that BetBoom are getting, they're still maintaining farm, especially on BZM, who's leading this. So it doesn't actually look that bad for them. It does seem like they're being run over, which is true, but objectives haven't been taken yet. The Visage hasn't really popped off just yet, and it's just a bunch of kills on Amar, which, as I said in the beginning, is probably going to be sacrificed this game. They know he's not going to have a good game. In fact, he understands this too, and he's going for a Midas, which will definitely be a recovery Midas this game.
I completely agree with it this time around. I think that's kind of natural given the state of his game, making sure he can at least get his BKB on the rest of his items with reasonable timing. He can't be expected this time around with a Wraith King and an Ember to be given the luxury of space and farm. Normally, Amar wins his lane and then farms kind of... oh, I can't draw on the map. He farms in like this area for a couple of minutes to get his items. That's not the case this time around. His game has been very difficult so far. As the Serpent Wards are dropped mid, that'll rotate some OG heroes over. And speaking of rotation, Soneko is going to go bottom. I believe Amar scouts him, however. The Hawk with now brown boots and the drums is a bit speedier. He can move around the map as well, as the OG scan will scout this smoke. Courier on the high ground, not going to see anything, of course. Laurel still covered by the smoke with Blitz Knuckles and the ulti ready to play with. But OG, not having that tier 1 bot lane, are going to go ahead and just back off.
Yeah. When you take the tier 1 bot, EU teams do this the most, right? They take the tier 1 bot, try to dominate the triangle as a result, but it's just really difficult to do it early. Despite the fact they had a ward here, it still is a dangerous place to go into the high ground, right? Vision or not, because of the, you know, the way that you funnel into that area. And OG knows this, which is why they're protecting bot so much.
Shackles
Great Spike Carpus there, has Soneko. They're trying to cover him here with the familiars. That's not going to be sufficient. Soneko will die. And the Hawk even had the help of a creep. I thought it was a Helm of the Dominator for a second, but the creep just decided to join him.
Yeah, so that's a smoke. Not really quite going the way here of BetBoom. The thing with Mars is that depending on his lane, he is not the slowest blink buyer, but 13-minute blink is completely average for the hero. Pretty small, pretty big actually standard deviation because he does go mid sometimes, so it can differ wildly. Stats not super accurate, but for off lane Mars, it is quite average timing. He's not really going to be able to join the fights before the blink dagger, and getting farm for him top lane with his tower gone is a bit, you know, dangerous. So Force Major is currently top, kind of babysitting to make sure that they're not going to look for a kill onto the Mars. And that means he's not around to make plays bot lane, for example. So OG making very good use of the space he create top, as they will get the bottom tower themselves, but it looks like Notice is going to be able to get the last hit top and equalize tower pressure. Very, very interesting. I feel like we don't see this too much, where both safe lane towers are gone, both off lane towers are gone, and it's really only mid as the Hawk is trying to get through them with the familiars. He might end up losing them here.
I think it's worth if you can get a tower. No, he realizes he can't. He's going to lose him immediately. Let him fail. And the Hawk actually resummons them before they can get the gold.
Yeah, That's pretty crucial. They've got a fair bounty on these guys, and they're going to look for Roche, actually.
Oh, we talked about early Roche. I guess that's the advantage on the Shaman, right? With Visage is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But
well, I think it's because they... Oh, wait, is he inside? No, he's not. They scouted Taiga coming out from Vendetta, so that does make the initiation a bit harder for OG. Like I said, pre-Blink Dagger, it's really just Ember that can poke and prod inside the pit. And, I mean, it's going down so fast, isn't it?
Especially because Amar went for a Midas, right? If you'd gone for like a straight, even a single Yasha or whatever, would allow him to just run into the pit and try to contest this. I still think that would have been a mistake, though, so I do agree with the choice. They're going to play this safe. They know they have to get the first Roche up, and it's given to Laurel. This team, BetBoom, is actually a team that I've noticed that is more creative with their who they give the Aegis to. They give it to their offlaner and mid more often than their carry, especially the first Aegis. And I think they really understand that the first Aegis for fighting, and they're going to abuse that a lot.
Yep. Yuragi's farm is going to start increasing. Armlets is online. Deso soon to be completed. Of course, saving the point for the reincarnation if he needs it. And this is honestly, Avo, this is looking strikingly similar to OG versus T1 Game 1. The biggest difference is that OG was actually winning most of their lanes when T1 decided to make the Roche play with the Shaman. This time around, it's BetBoom who are still winning and also take Roche control pretty much uncontested. So I'm curious when OG decide that it's go time here and they look for a fight of their own. Seb is starting to stockpile the money. Again, this hero Wyvern can farm, especially with the Max Splinter Blast build. So Blink Dagger is going to be slow, but perhaps pre-20 minutes on the hero.
Yeah, the problem is I think they're really hunting this potential dead lane, right? He doesn't have the option of staying near the tower too much as they now go hunting the enemy jungle, find Taiga, and even commit the arena just to make sure. Very EU style, right? Just kill him. Just kill him.
Just kill him, because honestly, even that one death might be enough for a mid-tier 1 if you wanted to make the push. It looks like BetBoom not really looking for it for now.
Yeah, it's tough because you know there's the Winter Wyvern here, and this mid lane is like the secondary dead lane where you can at least push it out and be useful without dying.
Yep. We're still building a couple of items as Laurel is going to get found by Seb. I also hear a Hex down bottom, but it's just onto Yuragi. Not much Shaman can do there solo. Laurel looking to bully Seb. He's got plenty of damage here with the Witchblade, but can't quite threaten for the kill this easily. And instead, I think the action's going to be top lane, where they are looking for BZM. He's got a Remnant back, and he's chasing the creep waves into the tree. Force Major, Tumbler's Toy. Oh, he gets scouted, though, and almost killed. Orb of Corrosion and a Maelstrom proc. That's more than half of the HP of the Skywrath Mage with only 1 armor.
Yeah, very weak to the Spoken Prod. I mean, actually, both supports of BetBoom are very weak to the Ember Poken Prod, right? As long as he plays super defensively, the question is who is going to be the tank for them? Probably the Wraith King. They just need a couple more items in Yuragi to make that work, and I think the item they play around probably is Desolator. You could wait for the BKB. OG seems quite chill, though, right now. BetBoom is managing to put decent amount of pressure, but this mid-tier 1 still standing has given OG a lot of space to farm. Probably when it falls, and on a big item on the Hawk, which is the AC, we'll see some more aggressive smoke by BetBoom.
Yeah, that's BetBoom's timing. Right now, they're quite happy to just farm and play this kind of kill squad duo, right? There's a lot of potential here between Force Major and Noticed. OG certainly are respecting that, right? That's why Taiga is doing well to keep his distance. He's going to go for a little bit of an adventure, set up a little bit of vision here. Really, he'd ideally like to find Force Major. That's a much easier kill. Notice will blink back. Doesn't want to farm this wave out this far. For good reason. He knows that BZM and the rest of OG likely lurking in their jungle. Laurel now with bots. He's going to go ahead and smoke up. Sorry, bot's about to be completed, that is. He's looking to go top lane. Dual Null Talisman and the Witchblade is plenty of damage, especially if you can land the coil onto BZM to make sure he takes it. Got a Remnant back, though. Yep, and he's out of there immediately.
OG, they're holding the high ground here, though, at least on the Nyx. This is more of a smoke-breaking high ground rather than an actual fighting high ground. A BZM, very interesting. He decided to play the dead lane most because they don't want to sacrifice their supports. Nyx covers him. That's the goal. Taiga will die. It's not a big deal. The whole point is that BZM can now could farm safely with a security that Nyx will die for him.
Yep. Skellies are going to be bursted by the tower down bottom. Laurel even's going to rotate on over. He knows Yuragi's in the area. There is, of course, level 2 reincarnation, but Taneko as well is going to surprise him. Here comes Amar, though, only with the Midas and the Ogre Axe, as that might be the first life here onto Yuragi. Amar, not sure what he could do here, as Seb holding onto the Winter's Curse as they look for the second life.
Yeah, he's trying to run away, but the Dream Coil is keeping him leashed. He's trying to get out of vision here. God's Rebuke will break that coil as Taneko snacks the kill. Laurel wanted to go to the high ground. Seb apparently was forced to a low ground as he landed, but they didn't have enough damage or stun to cancel that TP. However, with a kill on the Wraith King, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Yes, they will. I know they'll feel pretty peachy about that. Maybe OG thinking that BetBoom were going to stick around for the tier 2 tower push. That's very typical of the first Aegis usage, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, BetBoom don't play very typical Dota.
And they just don't play like that with the first Aegis. It's really a kill Aegis. And you see what we just talked about, right? Mid-tier 1 went down, and all of a sudden the aggression by BetBoom increased. Why? Because now OG is forced to farm in much more precarious positions. No longer can you go into your jungle and feel safe. They've actually sentryed their own jungle just to make sure there's no aggressive wards, but they're even afraid to put a defensive ward here because they know it's going to be dewarded most likely in the next incursion by BetBoom. And this is where the map control starts to fall for OG. And this is where they desperately try to farm those big items, those last core items, to make sure they can at least win the mano-a-mano.
There's a lonely Kobold dig up from the ground. He's just waiting for someone to hit. Yeah, it's gonna be a while, I think, before anyone finds him.
Taiga, oh, he's been found. Once again, he was just scouting. The shackles are ready, and this time he knows he's gonna waste a little bit of the Hex just to ensure there's no spike carpers this time.
Yeah, and that's the damage amp I was talking about, right? Ancient Seal on top of Witchblade. They're gonna smoke and immediately go top, though. I have no time to think about it. They really want to kill onto BZM. Yep. He's been quite patient so far, though, Ava. We'll see if they can get the jump.
They could potentially just try to spear him to the tree or spear into the arena as it goes. Oh, the leash is used first. Perfect. And with this, they can actually break it with the spear. They use the arena just in case, and that extra damage won't even be needed as BCM is destroyed.
Yep. That's pickoff after pickoff. The net worth lead, not too bad, though, really. Not really favoring BetBoom by much. AC is about to be completed, which means Dahawk is going to be more eager to join these fights. As we can see them actually group as 5, looking for a fight around the tier 2. If they can continue taking these lopsided fights, it's going to make it more and more difficult for Seb to be able to counter-initiate here. But he has got Blink, so this could be the moment. But for now, it's Taiga in trouble underneath the tier 2 tower as they commit the wards again.
Nice job.
So once again, just staggering these death timers here for OG. I don't know if they're keen on defending, but Seb with Blink seems like he wants to make a stab at it.
It's gonna be Uraga who initiates, but immediately he gets speared.
Amar has BKB.
They acknowledge it's not the time to fight. The BKB immediately from noticed. He goes into the trees. They'll throw Soneko into the fire, but can he get away from it? Apparently, he can.
Nicely done, and that's one of the benefits of going for this new build right on Shaman 144. You just
what do you call it? The Hackles build.
The hackles. It's because really what you do is you hex and shackle and you just cackle at them. There's nothing they can do.
Yes, also because Shex sounds awful.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was a good idea from OG. They're playing around the BKB timing. That was the first timing they can truly play around. Now it's going to be Desolator as well for Uragi, but they're not even going to wait for it. Just go for this Amar BKB.
Yeah.
Make use of Razor's peak here.
They did get the mid-tier 1 tower as well, so BetBoom in that equally as precarious position where they have to look for farm in slightly dangerous positions. There's a Blink on Seb. There's a BKB ready for Amar. Still 9 seconds. Mars no BKB for another 25, so BetBoom not really too keen on finding fights, but a nice job, Soneko. He scouted. Someone stole the bounty rune. They must be smoked.
Well, it's actually a really nice play by OG to smoke, because usually teams will just wait for that BKB on I was gonna say for the BKB on Ember because he's about to buy it, or even the Desolator on Wraith King. But because they play this aggressively and they understand that the relative strength of the Razor BKB is higher than what BetBoom can do, they force a awkwardish timing. And that means that now they're going to hit a bunch of timings and they're going to be the stronger team, and they take away map control from BetBoom, hopefully amplifying the OG farm. And you can already see a little bit of that effect by the 2k gold lead being reduced to 1k. That's the effect of the smoke from OG.
And speaking about gold, the benefit of Force Major playing this hero with an enabler that's the Mars, as well as picking up Philly Stone, a little bit of luck for sure. He's got a Blink Dagger himself. 4 blinks right now on
smoke
BetBoom.
there. And this on the stronger timing.
There's a DD in the river. Notice has to pick this one up, but he might die for it.
Oh, he might, but he activates BKB immediately. No hesitation. Notice gets away. But you saw this smoke immediately on the BKB on Ember and the Desolator on Wraith King. They'd have to fight. BetBoom can't keep avoiding them right now, but BetBoom is playing a really, really squirmish game.
Yeah, and they're underneath this ward. They've got a really good vision here in the lane. They've got the Tinker ward set up as well, Dahawk as well, with great vision with the wingmen. And OG not keen to fight in that top area. They don't see anyone pushing mid or bottom. That's a little sus, as Laura will finally show in the bottom lane to clear the wave.
There's where the vision game kind of comes into play, right? Nyx, he's old school vision. Visage Familiars, that's the real thing right now, right? And it's very difficult, even though Nyx is a great vision hero, and so is to a degree Wraith King and even Winter Wyvern. they just can't beat unit vision. That's always stronger.
And actually, BZM, he knows heroes are somewhere nearby. Oh, he got scouted to Hawk, but he knew heroes were nearby because the familiars didn't have the buff, so he knew that they were elsewhere. Force Majors, you know, he's got TP.
That's a good point, actually. Never thought of checking that, but that's clever.
You always got to check the buffs. It looks like Soneko is going to smoke the boys up as Roshan is available.
So what are they smoking on? Any big items? Okay, Blink on both supports, I suppose is partially it. The AC, which was somewhat recent, right?
It's AC. BKB's back for now the Mars. 7-second duration, sure, but that's a big one here, especially if they can catch a Mar without his own BKB ready.
And noticed. Vision. The Amar. Quick jump from Soneko. The Hex is impeccable. And the Mystic Flare, not so much. Amar, though, will still die thanks to the Arena from Noticed.
He's got no buyback here as well. That is the wrong stat. He's short of out by 1,000 gold. And that, I believe, will be OG having to give up this second Roche, pardon.
You know, actually, I think that smoke was because the Hawk was about to hit level 15. He just hit it, so it was perfect to actually get the kill and go straight into the Roche. And now this level 15, which is the minus armor and the familiars, allows you to take the Roche faster. But OG knows this, which is why they're going to try to fight this.
It's
Hex
dangerous.
on Duragi.
Everyone in BetBoom has buyback. Everyone.
Do. But they are missing two ultimates here, Mystic Flare and the Arena. However, Dreamco is still available. Seb has been killed off quickly. Uragi turned into a chicken. But Soneko, he's gonna suffer for this. He's being burnt down, Soneko. He knows he has to die. The Hawk takes the first life off of this Wraith King as the Spear finished off Taiga as well. Uragi going back to the high ground. BZM activates his BKB. They're fighting near a funnel spot, but they keep the high ground vision, and that allows OG to at least retreat safely. Taiga will not be so lucky. He TP'd without any vision. He got punished for it. Force Major TPing in the same position, and Uragi is ready to kill him off.
Yeah, he is, and now BZM with a little Spirit Bomb there finds the Hawk without a BKB of his own. He can't actually get the kill as that's a 3-man stun there on the Visage Familiar stun. The Hawk thinking about turning back on this. Mars with a blink ready to go. Arena and 15 more. Amar back alive, needs to Midas something, but most importantly wants to fight with this BKB. But OG cannot find the opening. With the Shaman and the supports naturally respawning, it's going to be advantage back to BetBoom.
Yeah, what a tight moment because both teams are hitting some pretty powerful spikes. BetBoom is, their window of domination is closing as OG's is opening as well. So these team fights is not easy to take. BetBoom understands that when they fight this Roche, yes, you can fight around your triangle, but because you're the aggressor, the moment that OG maintains that high ground, it's broken. And that's actually why you saw Force Major decide to go to the high ground solo as Skyrath Mage. They needed that high ground vision, but OG was ready to punish that. Really good movements in general. The positioning by OG has been fantastic here.
And basically a perfect opening kill. Obviously, they don't know that Amar doesn't have buyback, but the fact that he can't makes this fight feel really desperate for OG. Seb has to buy back, puts him really far behind, as they will go into Roche now.
Time to sneak it. Again, the familiars do have the minus armor now, so this Roche goes down to pretty much Shaman. There's some helpers here, but it's really just Shaman plus familiars.
Shaman, familiars, minus armor, yes. Laura will get that second Aegis. He'll be free in a second. He's got Blink, and it's going to be Dahawk who picks up the shard. Allows you to give an active to the Gravekeeper's Cloak, and it's gives a stun and a stone form and 35% HP recovery. Okay, top lane. The Tinker Ward pays off.
It does. And now they know, of course, there's a Tinker Ward there. As Force Mage. Oh no, it was Dire Tinker? Oh, he just dewarded. That's why.
He dewarded it. Yep. And unfortunately, that was a ward that could have given OG, pardon me, a potential window back in this game. Right. Yep. Getting a fight off of a unexpected ward potentially here is could have been a moment.
Huge deal because Nyx doesn't have a way of getting vision up there, right? No, none of his spells get vision. If it was Seb, he could have dewarded it solo. So one of the tough things there, you have to waste the ward as the tower falls here for BetBoom. I'm pretty sure you can put a sentry in the high ground, right? Like here, and it gives you vision of this weird high ground?
Yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, you can.
He chose not to because it's difficult to know where the ward is exactly.
Yeah, and they wanted vision there, right? We still we haven't seen one, but Winter's Curse is a thing that will wreck BetBoom. No, it's true. I mean, then everything comes together. The problem is BetBoom haven't given the prime opportunity, and this was my concern. They've always excelled at spacing and approaching these team fights from very awkward angles. It's not a traditional team fight in the way that they kind of line up and go in on a smoke. Laurel's always like somewhere behind. Notice is always making sure to jump the counter initiation. I mean, I would wager that this Mars damage after 10 minutes has mostly been onto Wyvern in these team fights.
You're right, actually. I think they understand very well. Also, Soneko being like a secondary initiator has given a lot of liberty to the Mars, right? Because it's his Hex that's actually starting the fight. Oh, there you go. Yeah, talking about it. It's the Hex that starts the fight. It just annoys the Wraith King, though. They do have high ground advantage, so they assume OG will back out, and they press this high ground advantage on BetBoom. But they know they also can't take this fight near the enemy high ground.
His Remnant's about to expire. It has actually expired, so he's going to have to TP out.
Oh, he revealed his position by killing the creep. Stream calls available.
Didn't see him. They just missed him. That could have been a really scary moment. I mean, worst case, it's BKB and leave, but because Puck is not 25 yet, but...
Classic BKB and leave.
Yeah, classic BKB and leave.
The Hawk does have the axe, by the way, no? On top of that Stormform, so he got his huge power spike.
Doesn't always go for it. Doesn't always go for it.
Especially with the AC build, right? With the AC, usually you don't actually see the Axe in the Hawk, but in this case, he finds it useful. Now you have Tower Push, in addition to also great ganking.
And again, I think this is a lot to do with the fact that Curse is really what you're scared of. Allowing you to approach these fights from wherever you please is going to make them so much easier as they see Seb. A good blink out in time, but Amar is going to be caught behind and pushed inside the Serpent Wards. They need a little bit more follow-up damage, and Laurel there to silence Seb, immediately trapped inside the arena, but they can't quite kill him, so he's going to go inside the Cold Embrace as Amar, kept alive, is going to be able to get through Soneko, getting the BKB off Seb. It dies to the right-click damage of Dahak, as that's only the first life down from Laurel.
Yeah, Uriah goes back in. He's hoping to at least kill Notice. He's hitting him from behind, but the BKB get activated by Notice. One last quick would do the trick. Notice tries to push him out, but in fact, God's Rebuke goes more for the damage. And he does manage to kill off Yuragi. He loses his first life. Notice is still alive. Another chasing after him. Dahak is willing to go under the tower. Laurel as well, who face shifts the stun, kills him with Waning Rift. And OG, they played that really well, honestly, because they thought, we have counter initiation, we have to force them into a wild engagement, but of course the Aegis made the difference there, and Laurel was capable of essentially playing as tank that team fight and winning it for the team.
I mean, it's a costly push, and you can see how, I think this line here under Seb, it just kind of shows how stressful this game is for him. A lot of the team fights hinge on him, but BetBoom, they have 4 Blink Daggers into Puck. They're always on top of him. He has no room to breathe, especially when the fights start off by them getting vision on you. These fights feel so impossible. BetBoom, they definitely recognize the strength of this. This is after the initiation, of course, where we get the second life and a great spear for Notice, but I mean, OG,
Laurel?
There they go.
Yeah, he's currently fighting head-on, and this is not the play you want to make. Soneko came to help him with the help of Force Major as well. They might just be bleeding people here. Soneko has the Essence Ring, tanking a fair amount, but it will eventually fall. That Aether Shock actually worked against him as Force Major, next target, 1 second for the Impale. Force Major trying to flap his wings desperately, but they're not going to send him home.
Actually, I believe they buffed Impale. Yeah, the spike radius increased, so that'd be that buff coming into play.
Huge. I do love the...
I'm surprised it caught him, but 3 dead. 3 dead. Regrettably for OG, they're not in the Roche window. This would have been a perfect comeback moment for them if Roche was going to be up in this next minute. Unfortunately, it's going to be at least another 3 until we know. But it does allow OG to at least get some wards up, get a little bit more breathing room, and reset here. The net worth lead is not that dire. It's only 4K. The fights can be even. It's been Vision making the big difference so far. Exactly.
And the lack of initiation on OG, which we talked about in the beginning, right? They just can't set up fights easily, so they have to constantly bait Amar. And there's a really, really fine line between baiting and managing to get a good fight and, you're throwing the beginning, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tough game for Amar, and I think the stat that's going to highlight that is that he had a decent, a slower timing, right, below average timing on BKB because his lane was hard, but he still had it around, I don't know, 22 minutes. That was the first fight he used it in, 29 minutes, first usage of BKB. It's not because they weren't looking for fights, it was just hard.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't really initiate because you can only run at them. That's your initiation, essentially. Eventually, though, this is a little bit fixed by the itemization of the MA team, and they'll get more items, and also Wraith King can just jump in, right? That's going to be the play eventually for OG, as BZM does also get the Ags, a little bit more mobility for him.
There's a gem up for OG.
Yeah, it's on BZM.
And Dahak as well is eyeing one, and he has one.
Yeah, he put it in his eye. Both button with supports, though. You can actually check.
Oh, can you do that now? That's amazing.
It says owned by
Soneko.
Soneko.
Beautiful.
And then for the BZM one, it's owned by Seb.
So Seb really
owns him.
puts all of his money here into the Gem of True Sight. Of course, with the Blink Dagger, that's ideally all he needs.
It's like Dota marriage, really. When you give someone the gem.
So normally what we see Wyverns like to do, especially when they're not hard countered by like a Spectre, a Storm, or an NP, is they stand like way over here, and then they'll like force staff and then blink to try and get a curse here. It's really, really hard for Seb though, given that there's Silent as the Grave, there's Puck with blink and bots. Like there's just so much things that he's got to be concerned about here. I really think once we finally see a good Winter's Curse from Seb, OG's teamfight is going to come together. Problem is finding it. Well, the problem is not so much finding it, it's making sure they don't find you first, really.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I think there's a way where they find you first, but they find you how you wanted them to find you, right? There is a trap you can set here. I really do think that's what OG is trying to do constantly with Amar. It's just kind of difficult to know where the line is. It is a very difficult Dota to play. I mean, have we even seen a Winter's Curse, to be honest with you?
No, we haven't seen one, no. There's Refresher as well, finished, by the way, for Notice as we start getting some of these later game items online. It's going to be the Kaya first for Laurel, into the Kaya and Sanj for a little bit more status resist. The Ag, Scepter, Ags, and Shard build here for BZM into Scythe of Ice, which will make these fights a lot easier, actually. That's the source of initiation. So he is pushing this bottom lane. Dahawk giving chase. Now the full Boots of Bearing upgraded into Drums and Tranquils. Great item here for him. Silence as the Grave, of course, he's invis. And BZM wants nothing to do with this potential puck, so he will Remnant away. Any other key items I'm missing here, Abo? BKB?
Refresher on Mars?
Yeah. Said that one. Okay. Caught that one. Force for Taiga, this Kaya, or sorry, SNY for Amar. He really likes it.
He's got it for a while. Yeah. He is going for his own refresher. Maybe that's a key item you want to play around. Double BKB is huge. Again, especially if you're the baiter, what happens is if you manage to just BKB into the fight, right? And then you have a second BKB for the fight, refresher is going to make a huge deal.
Speaking of doubling things, Skywrath Mage Acceptor is actually nearing completion.
That's pretty great. Actually, that could be clutch. He's also close to level 15, which I would like to see Ancient Seal cooldown, because that's to 6 seconds. It's huge.
And here's the Roche window. OG very eager. They know that this is their ticket back into the game. 2 lives on 2 of your cores with 2 BKBs, etc., etc. It's going to be very difficult for BetBoom to kind of poke and prod their way through that fight. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wait another minute. Of course, we know this. The players have no idea. They just know it's in the window.
Yes. I see a lot of people being confused about that sometimes.
Yes. This doesn't show up when you play Dota. That'd be very strong.
Yeah. Though there are some things that you see as spectator, you're like, I've never noticed this in the game. Is it really there? Yeah, it is. I'm just stupid, right?
There's a lot of bugs, too, like Nyx.
Yes. Or familiars. Flying bugs, right? They're more like...
They're gargoyles, actually.
Gargoyles are bugs, right? That's where they come from. They're biblical bugs, like locusts.
Sure. Smoke play for BetBoom. Again, the net worth lead has been pretty much stagnated at around 4K.
Woo! Look at him fly.
Will fly through the river. The familiars as well, even boosted by the familiar move speed talent at 20. Taiga is a prime hero to break these smokes with the jump. True Sight is a bit scary. Amar this time gets off the BKB though, and there's a counter initiation. Notice force back with Seneko jumping onto Yuragi. As they do see Taiga, they're going to look and get through him first. Essence Ring won't keep him up, and BZM jumps the backline. Silence not going to do anything against the BKB, as he will at least cut through both supports. As we get into a new phase of the team fight here, both teams looking to counter initiate.
Taiga is going to be the next target here, and he is going to be the one to die as BetBoom. They want to poke and prod. They don't know if they can continue this too much. Dreamco has been committed, but they don't want to overcommit here. Finally, with a spear, they get a chance. Winter's Curse is available. We might see the first usage. There we go. And the first usage is going to kill Notice, thanks to the familiars. In exchange for the Wraith King's first life, though, Laurel leaves himself close to Yuragi, who starts the BKB. He knows Soneko's a target. Soneko's surprisingly tanky, though. They need the help of Amar, and Soneko will fall. But Laurel hitting Yuragi a bit too hard. That combination of Waning Rift plus Steel Orb has to be saved thanks to the Cold Embrace, which will out-heal both Armlet and the Witchblade. Laurel still looking to snipe him, though. Instead, we'll settle for Seb. I don't know about this one, Laurel. You might be punished. They break the Lincolns, and even though he got Seb, he loses his life for it, and Yuragi will get to live this fight.
Yes, he will, and I think that's a mistake from Dahawk. He ended up on the cliff because of Silence is the Grave. He was cliffed the entire fight, and all he could do was toss a couple of soul assumptions in, which is damage, but they were missing the auras, they were missing the right clicks. He couldn't resummon familiars that were on cooldown for a bit. As the second Roche now is going to be contested heavily here. Buybacks all around as Amar has BKB. Dahawk giving chase, and that's going to be the double Skywrath Mage ulti. Not enough damage. Dahawk gets off his Gravekeeper's cloak as Amar continues to stack up the damage. Notice as well is back. No refreshment. He's got an arena in a couple seconds as Yuragi goes up to the high ground with the spider legs. Dahawk continues to give chase as they have gotten through Amar. Laurel back onto Yuragi, who does have the reincarnation at the ready and is going to need it for his second life.
Here comes the arena with Notice, as you said. Second life quickly dealt with, and that's Yuragi losing all the advantage he kind of got in the last fight. The tips towards Sev here, as we were talking in the lobby about how they have him muted so he won't tip him, and now they're returning the favor. This is a free Roche here for BetBoom, unless OG wants to buy back, but this would be a really scary buyback to commit.
Yeah, especially without control of the outpost. You have to expect there's wards in your jungle after that fight, and given that there's, well, 4 Blink Daggers here for BetBoom, it's tough. And an Axe Blessing here. Maybe Puck? Laurel.
I think so, actually.
Laurel, yeah. Shaman Eggs, it's not that great, honestly.
Yeah, it's okay. If you really need to push, right? But I don't think it's amazing. Yeah. I do like the Puck Eggs, though.
Got a Remnant. Laurel giving chase, knows he's in the area. They see each other. The silence finds him. BZM holding onto the BKB,
Oh, no.
of course. There's no coil. He knows that. Yeah, there's no coil.
There's no coil. He's level 25 though, so now no longer can you do the BKB and leave.
Good point.
Technique. Yeah. So he's playing around the coil timing much more now. BZM will have to be a bit careful with that, but BetBoom. I mean, I think OG got a pretty good advantage once they started essentially proposing the team fights against Shaman first, right? They know Shaman is the key point, the team fight, and if they kill Soneko, pretty great. However, BetBoom has acknowledged this too, and they're starting to bait with Soneko a little bit more, with Notice leading the charge much more than Soneko. We're seeing less aggressive blink hexes, and Soneko is just kind of staying in between the fight, so you're actually forcing OG to overcommit. Yep. Also, his hex on Wraithing in the beginning of the fight every single time makes that reincarnation not so useful, because you just get ignored for a while.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun. Respawning into all this setup. Taiga's thinking about this, but he's the only one here, so just a bit of scouting. And unfortunately for him, of course, Laurel's not the one carrying the gem. As top, Force Major is clearing a couple waves. BZM might think about going hunting, but he's gonna just let the creeps do the work for now.
Basher on Mars, by the way. Was that what I just saw? Yeah. Okay. So now the God's Rebuke can actually do something against the BKB targets, right? I mean, it deals damage, but now you can stun. Yuragi's forced active BKB, does not want to die there twice. He acknowledged how many units are probably here for BetBoom.
Yep. Yeah, very much so, especially because Taiga has not scouted anyone down bottom, right? So they're able to make that play, at least some intel from this Nyx pick.
Fortune's changed.
Soneko closing in on the BKB. They might look for Taiga, but I imagine he TPs here rather quickly, especially once he sees Soneko in the lane. The blink, they're going to go hunting. Yeah, Taiga did scout that. He saw the particles. Sentry, though, is there. The silence out for Taiga.
Mystic Flare is available.
Mystic Flare is ready. I think they just want Dahak. Hello, Dahak here. We're here to give you a kill, sir.
Oh, no. The supports deserve it, dude.
Okay, he's just there for the -5 armor. Take it.
I guess he didn't want to just waste the Mystic Flare. It's a lot of mana, so...
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be ready to fight now, right? You're with Aegis. That's what, like 750 mana right now for him?
Yeah.
Close. Not yet.
Yes, I think it's fine. You'll get the sacrifice soon on the Hawk as well. That's going to give you a little bit more initiation here. Now double Hex. And also what this does is a little bit of chaos in the fights, right? Because you don't know if Shaman has wasted his Hex or not, which is a really big deal when you're initiating on that hero.
And a bit of a difficulty now.
Well, you should know if he has a cosmetic, actually.
Yeah, I think he's got the sheep.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah. Never mind then.
Paid to lose cosmetic, honestly.
I think you still, it's like two different animations, I'm pretty sure, on the Hexes. But in the middle of a fight, it's kind of difficult to notice. You just think Hex, right? You don't look at the animal.
That's not something I've ever noticed, to be honest. But now I'm really curious. I'm going to test that in between games. Dahak up to the high ground here, where Sep does have vision.
Yep.
He's got his things and wards ready to scout. He's not making this mistake twice. They did catch him last time in a pretty brutal fight. Even disassembling the Arcanes, by the way, to go for the Aether Lens, just to increase his cast range a bit more. Also works with Blink, so he can stand a bit further back as he blinks forward now. That's a solo, which is onto Dahak by counter initiation from Notice as he goes in. They're sapping the damage from Dahak, but he uses the Gravekeeper's Cloak active as the fight breaks out around them.
Yeah, Notice activated his BKB though, but that's the first BKB used. Now the second one, second arena as well. That gives Amar the time to use his own BKB. Cheese has been used by Notice, and that might not save him. Amar is going between the arena. He's gonna find the kill. Notice is dead as BZM chasing after the Hawk. This team fight seems over for BetBoom. I don't know if OG wants that though.
Not sure either. Still have that second life. That is a dieback by the looks of things here on the Mars. As Laurel actually going into more aggressive. Yagi right on top of him, point blank. That's the first life. Life for a life, Avo. As they'll both be responding. Yuragi first on 3 seconds into the stun for Laurel. Perfectly timed. The Lincolns wasn't ready. And OG was.
And here's one of the tricks that you can do with Impale or Ravage, right? You can't BKB off that. The Hex. The Hawk. He could be in a difficult position.
He's got Yuragi joining.
There's the Shackle for Soneko. They gotta cancel it, but they get the Impale for Dahak.
He got the cloak.
It doesn't really matter, Soneko. You are going to die. Dahak is gonna be next. They all high-five him, surround him, and pummel him to death. So yeah, just to point out, because we've seen this a couple times, when you Impale or Ravage or these spells that go through the ground, right, and you respawn with Aegis, there is no time to actually use the BKB as long as the Impale's already in the air. And that's what we saw there for the puck.
Impale, Earthspike, and Ravage are these three kind of things.
Yes.
Because they literally travel and they're kind of their own hitboxes. So no chance there for the puck. As OG going straight for the win. They know there's no buyback on the puck. The Hawk, though, can do what he can. Doesn't have familiars even, Avo. Not much of a hero, as that's 1 tier 4 tower crumbling.
And they're going for more. The throne's gonna be soon exposed. They kill Force Major. That's a huge deal. He has to buy back immediately, but 40 seconds to Lamar's. So Nico's not here either. Seb just broke the max because why not? The creeps are not gonna join him in pushing this out. They're gonna lose BZM, who was sitting the throne here. There's the Winter's Curse, and they're actually gonna try to get the kills. They're going first for the Hawk here, and they kill him. It's over. They actually killed the last 2 remaining heroes for BetBoom, and they finish with style. OG, they waited a while. They survived the early onslaught from BetBoom. They never lost the advantage this game. They actually managed to maintain a good net worth the whole time, and towards the end they showed up and told them this is why Tricore drafts work, because our late game is just better.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Seb finds that 2 really fantastic Winter's Curses, and the fights fall into place for OG. It was really just BetBoom using their vision, using their mobility, and making sure that Seb was completely canceled, because without that, it wasn't easy for BetBoom, was it? But really kind of just dancing around them and exacerbating the lack of control and initiation. BetBoom, though, eventually their time runs out.